Hello, and welcome to another video. So I just want to talk to you really quickly. It really is going to be quick. I have something I want to share with you this morning, and I hope that it sends you off into your day with the realization that whatever you're doing right now, it's important not just to where you're going, but to the people that God has assigned to your life right now. So I always tell you guys this. I used to do these little Snapchat conversations, right? And I started them because the Lord told me that I would get married, and he told me that if I didn't start telling this story right now, if I didn't start showing people I was dating and I didn't have any candidates and all this kind of stuff, when I got married, no one would believe the story of how I got married. There would be no witnesses. So the Lord really wanted witnesses. Okay, so I just started making these Snapchat stories out of obedience. Really, that's what I was doing. So every time I would go on a date, or a girl get declined for a date, or just didn't get a return date because I wasn't sleeping with these people, I would go on Snapchat and I would just start talking. Like, we would just be talking like regular. Like I'm sitting here right now with you talking, joking. I will say that the more I shared, the more this veil of vulnerability kind of, it came up, and I started having real conversations. Well, whenever you start having real conversations that could actually change people's life, the Holy Spirit then intervenes. And sometimes you don't know when it's happening, especially if that wasn't your goal. And I can't say that that was really my goal at the time. I'm just being honest with you. I just knew, like I said, that the Holy Spirit was telling me that no one would believe me, and I didn't want to not be believed. So I just came on. Excuse, girl, I have a Vaseline around my mouth. So I just came on and I was sharing, and I noticed that people started to share their stories. They started to be vulnerable. I heard stories, and the crazy thing is, I would say the amazing thing is that these were all people that I grew up with. Now you have to remember that I grew up as a military kid, so I didn't stay around any of these places very long. I just got short, glimpses into these children's life at the time. A lot of the times I was the new person in the mix, and nobody really knew me. So a lot of the people who began to follow me were people from that time in my life. So for them to be opening up and sharing stories, and I don't mean like, girl, I don't mean like any old stories. I mean stories like stuff that you would never tell anyone. Like things like, I am, you know what? Let me not. Okay. Just stories you would never tell anyone. And I began to just console them in ways. I know now, looking back on it, there should have been a little bit of prayer in the midst. Not a little bit, girl. There should have been prayer in the midst. And some of those people just straight out needed deliverance. And as I moved on along in that process, things like that did take place, but I never saw it for what God was really doing. And this morning I woke up and I was reminded of one particular experience that I want to share with you, because I want you to know, like I said, the importance of where you are right now. Even if you might be confused, but if you're doing what the Lord has told you to do and you don't think that you're really making a difference, I want to dismantle that this morning. So I remember one day, a girl started following me. Like, I remember her because my junior high boyfriend, who had passed away at the time, she remembered me from that time, right? So she used to always be around. I never really got to know her. I just knew that she was a lot different than the other people who was around her. So she was different, okay? She was a Caucasian young lady, and nobody else was, okay, including myself. So it was just different. And I remember her reaching out to me one day and sharing her story with me. And I didn't think, I just told her the truth. I didn't try to develop some kind of crazy connection with her. She gave me the situation, and I told her what I think about the situation. And at this time in the whole Snapchat journey, we were strictly, I was leading people to Christ. Okay. I was leading people to holiness, to living a holy lifestyle. So not rolling out of the bed with people and things of that nature. That's what I was doing. And I remember her asking me the question, like I said, and she was desiring marriage. And I didn't know, she was in a totally different state. So I didn't know much about what was going on. And I asked her something crazy, like, can you do, I don't know. Like, let's say I say, well, do you want to go out to eat or something like that? Let's say let's say I said, you want to talk on the phone. And she told me, I can't right now because I don't have a tongue. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have a tongue? Now, I remember her, like I said, back in the day, vibrant. She had kids and, it was just vibrant. She was not like the people who we are around. And when she said she didn't have a tongue and she began to tell me why she didn't have a tongue, it hit me like a sword, okay? Just stabbed me. And I remember when I finally I got a bit invested because I wanted to see her recover. I didn't know that I actually have the authority as a believer to command her recovery. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. If you've been here, you've been here. But every situation that ends in death should not have necessarily ended in death. And there was a lot going on there to where the family wanted the children. So that was a situation that was a bit different than what was really going on. The Tanzania sitting before you here today knows that. The one that was back there didn't know that. But I do remember this, and the Lord reminded this to me. Though, her life wasn't spared, her soul was, because she got to know God through the messages that I just thought was just fun chats sitting there. She died, literally died. I remember I sent her a message back to one of the messages she sent me, and she said she was going to surgery and to pray for her. And I remember praying for her, sending her the message one day, and somebody responding with, she passed away. And I just fell to the floor. And I realized, like I said, I didn't realize it in that moment. I think when I got up, I tried to really get rid of the severity of what really happened. But this morning I was reminded that you better play your role, because somebody's soul, there's a life depending on it. And people have stuff to say. People, who you think you are, you think you're a preacher, who you think you are, what qualifies you to be doing X, Y, and Z. You better not listen to all of that and listen to what the Lord is telling you to do concerning his people, because would she have ever gotten the good news if it wasn't for me sharing the good news in the way that I shared the good news in that season of her life? No one else was doing it. And the people around her, she didn't trust to give it to her. And I know those people. So I know they weren't even giving it. But if I thought that what I was doing was so insignificant, then I didn't open my mouth, would that soul have been saved? And I want you, as we chart in the next season of life, I'm telling you, I want you to begin to look. If you are a believer of Christ, if you say you're really rocking with Jesus and you're on the Lord's side, what I want you to do is you begin to see every single encounter that you have of one of his children as a soul being saved, because it's that important to him. And that's what I really wanted to say. I want you to begin to pray against untimely deaths. I've been having a lot of just foreshadowing, a lot of visions and dreams surrounding this sort of thing. And I want you to pray against it. I also want you to realize that don't be praying amiss. And when I say praying amiss, you're praying for something, but you're living contrary to the way that the God who says to pray like this says that you should live. I want you to refrain from doing that. I want you to refrain from complaining and murmuring when you're not really living holy and set apart like you're called to live. And I'm not talking about success. I'm not talking about that you have success. I'm talking about that you are in relationship and right standing with God. You are the righteousness of God. I want you to begin to live your life like that, upright, because when things start hitting the fan, you want to have this hope. You want to be able to place your faith in the Lord, the Lord of hosts, okay? The Lord of armies, who will come through for you every single time. Okay, I want you to do that. As always, if you have a question. Oh, by the way, if you didn't see my video yesterday about giving to others and you have a need and you want to share your story, go and check out that video. If you want to give to someone else who shares their story, go check out that video. I'm going to say it right here. You can go check on the website. None of the money's coming to me. It's going straight to these people. I have not had a story yet. So if you know someone who is in need, who wants to share their story, or otherwise, like I said, read all the stuff on the website, please do that. I'm desperate to give. Okay, I'm desperate to set this up to give back to the people who are in need. So As always, like I said, if you have a question, ask a question, and I'll see you in the next video.